I want you to, what is it? Numbers what?
9.
Uh, Numbers 9.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And you can start at
Verse 10.
verse 10.
Okay. So let's do this. We're going to get context, right? One of the things that I always do, and I suggest everyone else to probably adopt this, is that when we were Christians, we used to go in and pull a verse out, right? And we didn't really understand the context. We're just like, okay, well, it said this right here. So this is what it said, but we didn't get the full context. So what we want to do is get the full context. So we'll begin in verse number 1 right quick. It says, Yahweh spoke to Moshe in Mount Sinai, or excuse me, the Sinai desert in the first month of the second year. Okay. Context. The first month of the second year after they have left Egypt. So now a whole entire year has went by since they left Egypt. He says, and we're in the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, okay, meaning in the wilderness. He said, let the people of Israel observe Pesach at its designated time, okay, which is a Moedim. And on the 14th day of this month at dusk, you are to observe it, meaning, as he told us in Exodus or Shemot, chapter number 12 and 13, on how to do that, right? And also in Leviticus 23. At its designated time, you are to observe it, and according to all its regulations and rules, meaning its instructions according to his Torah. Moshe told the people of Israel to observe Pesach. So they observed Pesach. Yeah, at dusk on the 14th day of the month in the Sinai desert. And the people of Israel acted in accordance with all that Yahweh had ordered Moshe. But there were certain people who had become unclean because of someone's corpse. Someone died. So they could not observe Pesach on the day because they were unclean. So they came before Moshe and Aharon that day. Okay. On what day? On the day of Pesach. And said to him, we are unclean because someone's corpse. Why? But why must we be kept from bringing the offering for Yahweh at the time of the designated for the people of Israel? Moshe answered them, wait, so that I can hear what Yahweh will order concerning you, these two individuals. Yahweh said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel, if any of you now or in the future generations is unclean because of a corpse, okay, or if he is on a trip abroad, nevertheless, he is to observe Pesach. So let's just stop right there, okay? The idea behind this is being clean and unclean, right? And that means ceremonially unclean, meaning you touch the dead body, you're supposed to go through a water purification. And these individuals were unclean because they came next to something that was dead. And so they have to be holy, right? So your question is whether or not we're in capacity to be able to keep this, considering like my mother died 2 years ago, and I thought it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it is 2 years, going on 3 years. Wow. And I touched her body, and I didn't go through the process of going to be cleansed on the 3rd and the 7th day, right? So again, we're not religious. So when I look at this, I have to keep it in context. Yah is talking about the individuals that are in the wilderness with them, okay? And he's telling them that because you dwell with me, you're going to have to be clean all the time, okay? When you're dealing with me. So the next question you may ask is, well, why do we keep the Pesach if we're not clean ceremonially, right? So how are we doing that? Well, we are keeping what Yah says to the degree of remembering what he says, okay? We're not keeping it by going with the rules and the regulations of, the offerings, because there was offerings that had to be given for that in a certain way. And everything had to be according to the rules and the regulations. When you're in exile, it's impossible to keep the Moedims in exact form that Yahweh had said. So this is where a lot of contention is, especially in Israel, because some camps and people are saying, oh, we don't have to keep it. And others say, yes, we do have to keep it. And then there's others who say, well, I'm not going to keep it, Yah is asking us to remember the Pesach for us that are in exile, okay? So we remember it because of what Moshe said in Deuteronomy chapter number 30. He said, when we come to the lands of our enemies and we are scattered and we start thinking about the blessings and the cursings that come upon us, we're going to turn and do everything that Moshe said exactly the way that he said it. Now, are we going to do it exactly like per regulation? No, that's not going to happen. Yah's not looking for that. What he's looking for is a mind that's bent on attempting to have a heart to do it. That's what it is. So this is not a religious exercise. But let me continue to read. Verse number 11 says, but he will observe it in the second month on the 14th day of dusk. They are to eat it with matzah and a maror, which is bitter herbs, and they are to leave none of it until the morning, and they are not to break any of its bones. They are to observe it according to the regulations of Pesach, okay? But the person who is clean and not on a trip, who fails to observe Pesach, will be cut off from his people because he did not bring the offering for Yahweh at his designated time. That person will bear the consequences, okay? And then it goes on to talk about if a foreigner is staying with you and wants to observe Pesach, he's to do it according to the regulations and the rules of Pesach. You are to have the same law for the foreigner as for the citizen of the land, okay? And so, again, he's given us an understanding about what Pesach is going to be like for them and for the foreigner. Now, we are in exile, okay? So we don't have an offering to bring to the temple to Yahweh. But Yah is not looking for the offering from Israel at this point, because the only offering Israel has to offer him is the offering of their lips to say that I'm sorry, I want to turn back and do what you said. Yah knows that he was going to scatter us, right? He tells us, I'm going to scatter you guys. So he's already scattered us, okay? And he knows that you and I won't have an offering. He knows that you and I don't have a temple. He knows that we don't have a priesthood. He knows that we don't have a king. He knows that we don't have these things. So what is he looking for? Should you and I keep the Pesach, considering he said it's a perpetual moedim forever, no matter where you live? Absolutely. How do you do that? Here's the answer. You do it by, number one, turning your mind to it. So on the 14th day, okay, you go get a lamb, not that you're going to bring it to the temple, you're commemorating it, because you know that that has to do with Yah taking us out of the land of Mitzrayim. Every moedim that we keep, you guys, has to remind us, okay, that we were slaves. This is what Yah is trying to show us, that we are slaves. Pesach represents what he did for Israel, okay, how he brought us out. Go ahead. What's your question, Jared?
So do we do it on the designated day being in this land, or do
Yes.
we do it days later?
Yes, you do it. Yes, you do it. Here, let me see something right here. I'm getting some feedback on my end. We're going to do it at the designated time. That's when we're going to do it. We're going to do it at the designated time that he said. We're going to do it at the 14th day. Okay. So what we do is we get some lamb. And if you're not a lamb eater, go get one little piece of lamb and eat whatever you can of it. Okay. And whatever you don't eat of it, burn the rest. Just as long as you put that in, it's a memorial. It's to memorialize. It's a reminder. Okay. Matzah. Do you go through matzah? Do you not eat unleavened bread? Can you do that? Yes, you can. You can clear your house out of all the leavening agents for 7 days and eat no bread, no leaven for 7 days. You could do that. And when you do it, you're reminding yourself that Yahweh delivered Israel and that they left so quick that they weren't able to even leaven the bread that they had. Okay. So these are the reasons why that we do these things. We keep him on the very time when we talk about Sukkot. We keep Sukkot at the same time, the time, and we go live and we do our best. For the last couple of years, we've been having a whole bunch of fires and stuff out here in California, so we weren't able to do it, right? So that's what we do. And all we're doing is we are going through the cycles with Yahweh, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're going through cycles. So when you go to Pesach coming up, you're going on a cycle. You're like, oh, this is a reminder. And then matzah, that whole week, it's a reminder. Okay, then you go in a couple of weeks from there and you got first fruits. That's just a reminder. Do you have any first fruits to give to Yahweh? No. But why are you commemorating? I'm commemorating because I'm reminding myself of what Yahweh has done. When we keep the festivals of Yahweh, it is a reminder to us that he is the one who saved us. So those who say, well, I don't want to do it, it's out of sight, out of mind. And that's not what Yah asked us to do. Here, let me show you something so it can comfort our hearts, because what we don't want to do, and I know reason why, you can tell me if I'm wrong, the reason why you asked that question is because you want to be right. You want to show Yah that you, right?
No, I asked that because I see a lot of people during that time do it at different times.
Yeah, because they're on a
And
different calendar. Yeah.
yeah, and some people kind of use different scriptures. So
Yeah.
I was wondering if we should be doing it 30 days later since we're not in the land,
Well,
versus doing it designated time.
that's a great question. Here's the thing: if you did it 30 days later, would you be clean? Would you be clean according to what he said? He said that we're unclean,
I
right?
would
So
still be
we're still unclean. So whether it's 30 days or whatever, if you on a trip, right? And some people use that as an excuse. Oh, I forgot. We just read. He
Mhm.
said, think of the essence of what he's saying. He's saying, be clean, show up, okay? Because the people are like, we can't do it. And he says, what if you're on a trip? Remember, he just mentioned, Yah said, if you're on a trip and they forgot, because they were on a trip and they were away and they weren't able to do it because they were unclean. He said, then you have to wait the 30 days. But if you knew and you still went on a trip and you didn't keep it, you're cut off. So what it's about is for you to be reminded of the, number one, the sanctity of it. And secondly, you need to be reminded that you need to keep it. You need to keep it. It's a memorial throughout all your generations. It's never going to change. So there's a scripture that talks about before Moshe brought the children of Israel, or excuse me, Yehoshua brought the children of Israel into the land. He said to them that you guys are doing what you think is right now. You're doing what's right in your own eyes right now. That's what you're doing. So when we get to the land, you're not going to do what you think is right. See, no one is intentionally trying, like the other camps and people, no one's intentionally trying to do that which is wrong. They really believe what they're doing is right in their own eyes. I mean, I'm might think what I'm doing is right in my own eyes. But when we get there, God says, don't worry, when you get there, I'm going to show you what it's all going to be about. When you get there, when you get home, don't worry, you're going to figure it out. So what are we supposed to do today? We're on the same page. Yeah, that's right. We are. Yep, absolutely. We're on the same page because Yah's saying, I just want you to remember it. That's what I want you to do. So Moedims, you guys, I just want you to remember it. Let's look at the Shabbat. If you look at the Shabbat today, some people think the Shabbat is on a lunar calendar, and it's different times during the week. And some people say it's on Friday evening all the way to Saturday evening. Some people say, like myself, that Shabbat starts when the sun comes out and then when it goes down, right? So you got all these different opinions, right? Well, let me ask you something. Besides all that, is any of us clean? No. Does any of us harness the spirit of the living Elohim to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments the way that he says that is prescribed according to the Torah? No. He says, I'm going to give that to you. Okay. So if that's the case, you said, well, what am I doing? What you're doing is called being paid back for your crimes. And what you're doing is shuving, you're turning back to Yahweh. That's what we're doing. We're turning our hearts, which is our minds, back to Yah. And how do you do that? You do it by doing what he asked us to do. So today is the Shabbat. How'd you turn to him? It's a Moedim. I don't know if you guys know this, but there were offerings that were made on Shabbat. Offerings, lambs that were given on Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh. Does any of us have an offering to offer the Holy One of Israel? So would we not keep the Shabbat? No. We do the Moedims to remind us of what he's done for Israel, because those are the things that they didn't do when they were in the land. Okay. So let's go. That was a great question. I'm glad we were able to get that off. Now, yes, I see a Koti Rivqua first, and then we got iPhone 13 next. Go ahead, Kwa. What's your question?
Yeah, don't you think I kind of feel like the Torah was written for us to remind us to bring us back to Yahweh? Because if
Yeah.
we start looking at the Moedims, even though we know we can't keep them fully here, it's to remind us in generation after generation. They ask us why the sons ask the father, why are you doing this? It's to remind us that you were slaves in Misraim. This by keeping the Moedims has reminded me that we are in a foreign land and we are slaves, just by the sheer essence of reading the Torah has made it obvious to me who we are. And I think that, that's just awesome in this praise Yah. Hallelujah.
Praise God, that makes a lot of sense. iPhone 13, go ahead.
Now, I was going to just say,
I'm sorry, I accidentally muted you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the only, offerings we have is to, Thanksgiving. That's all we could do right now, just giving the Most High, many thanks, Torah Rabbi Yahweh,
And that's in Psalms 50. That's right. So that's what he's asking. So we give that to him, and we give it, and that's what we're going to give him. And that's what makes Christianity so tantalizing, because they actually have an answer for no offerings. Their answer is the death of an innocent man. That's what they get. So they got all their bases covered, because they want to be right too. You can't knock the hustle. They want to be right, just like we want to be right. But when they do that, what they do ultimately is they ignore what Rivqua just said, that you're in the lands of your enemies. Oh, yeah. You understand me? So they understand it. Everyone's looking for a solution. Okay. Which brings me to our study. Okay. Everybody's looking for a solution. We all want it. I want a solution. I know you want one. Let me see. I'm going to stop the shit. Let me see here right quick. All right, we need to get into our study right here, right quick. What can you guys see on my screen? What can you see?
Summary.
All right, awesome. Praise the Holy One of Israel. All right, this is class. Get your notebooks and your pens and be ready, because we're about to go. This whole week, this Torah portion is from a man called Yithro. This is the name of the Torah portion. Yithro was a Kohen. Okay, he was a priest from Midian. The Midians are related to Abraham through his wife Keturah after Sarah died. So they're relatives. Okay, so they're people of the east, people who are of that region. A lot of customs and cultures are the same. Okay, he gave some advice to Moshe, and we talked about that earlier this week. We talked a little bit about preparation. Okay, so I want to open our teaching right now with for the next 15 or 20 minutes about preparation. Okay, I went a little bit on it, but I didn't go all the way on it. Okay, so what I want to do right quick is I want to read to us about this preparation, because that's what we have to do. We have to prepare to meet the Holy One of Israel. Okay, when we met last on Yom Kamishi, which is the 5th day of the week, we stopped at verse number 5, which says, now, if you pay careful, can you see my screen? That's what I want to know. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Now, if you pay careful attention to what I say, this is the Holy One of Israel speaking, and guard my covenant, then you will be my own treasure, which a jewel, my possession, my property from among all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. That's where we stopped. Okay. And verse number 6 is where we're beginning today. You will be a kingdom, okay, of Kohanim for me, okay? This word Kohanim has several different meanings, okay? It doesn't just mean priest. It just doesn't mean priest, okay? It has a organic meaning, an agricultural meaning, okay, that has more to do with planting roots, okay? Planting roots, being the foundation, being the base of something. Okay. So let me see if this pen will work right quick, and we can. One thing about technology that can get you sometimes is if it doesn't want to respond, it interrupts the thoughts, Okay, here we go. All right, so this word right here, you guys, doesn't only mean priest. It actually means a root, R-O-O-T, which is the foundation. Okay. Because that's what a priest does. Okay. Or is. A priest is the foundation of the community. That's why Yah is setting them up. It's a root system. Okay. Because eventually, what's going to happen with the root, okay, is it's going to go and where's the root start? It starts off as a seed. Okay. So the two letters that are talking about this word is called Khan. It's a Kof and a Noon. Okay. I'm just going to put it like that. Okay. Or a final Noon. Okay. Khan. Okay. All right. And the first part of this is a palm of the hand. Okay. So you got your palm of the hand. Everyone has a palm of their hand. This letter right here, the Noon, N-U-N, represents a seed. Okay. So it's the seed that's in the palm of the hand. Okay. They're going to take the palm of the hand, take the seed, and they're going to place it into the ground. Once they place it into the ground, okay, the seed opens and then the roots come out. Okay. Then once the roots start going down into the ground, okay, after that happens, a little green stalk starts coming out of the ground. Right here. I'll put this back in the ground. Okay. It starts growing and it's called a stalk. Okay. And when it grows, it grows firm. So if it's firm, it will grow straight up. It needs a firmness about it. It needs to be straight. Okay. So this is the agricultural understanding of what a Khan or Kohanim is coming from. So a priest is what Yah is doing is he's setting the Leviim, okay, which in this case are from the children of Israel, and he's placing them in our community. But Yah is not only talking about only the priests for the children of Israel. See, people think that it's just the priest for the children of Israel, okay? Yah is calling the people of Israel. The people of Israel are going to be the foundation and the root in the earth. To what? To be the support or the base, okay, or the foundation. And what does a priest do for the community? Since he's taught us through the priesthood, through the Leviim, what is the Leviim and the Kohanim and Aaron and them? What did they teach the children of Israel? What was their job?
Teach them how to live.
Teach them how to live, and to teach them the difference between what?
Clean and unclean.
Clean and unclean. I got to teach you the difference between that which is clean and that which is unclean. I'm going to teach you the difference between what is appropriate to wear versus that which is not appropriate to wear. I'm going to teach you how to deal with marriage and family and children. I'm going to teach you on how to live among each other and how to have relationships. I'm going to teach you about sex. Oh yeah, you hear me? I'm going to teach you how sex is supposed to be done in the family. I'm going to teach you about how to clean your body. I'm going to teach you on a separation when a woman gets on her menstrual cycle. I'm saying these terms, I'm telling you these things because we need to stop being so spiritual, okay, which we already have a spirit. We need to learn how to govern our bodies. The body of our, which they would, people would say was your temple. No, it's not. It's not your temple. It's a vessel. Okay. That's what it is. It's a vessel. Okay. It's like a cup. Okay. You understand? It's a jar and it contains different things. Yah's asking us to make sure that you have a clean vessel. And one of the things that's inside of our vessel that we're having a horrendous time to maintaining and making clean is the mind. And in our case, for those of us who don't know what a mind is, it's your brain. Okay. That's where everything happens. The brain and the mind is literally the soil, okay, of us. It's the mindset. It's their soil. It's where everything takes root. And some of us, our root system, okay, our roots that are going down, which they would be called our belief system. Some of us have a belief system and we have roots in us that need to be brought in and to be ripped out. Okay. Because they're causing our stock was supposed to be firm to fall over. We're not straight. Okay. So I use these agricultural terms because that's what's connected in the idea of a Kohanim, the idea of a priesthood. So what we're seeing is the creator of the heavens and the earth is calling you and I to be a kingdom of people who will be the foundation for the earth in order to teach the people what he has said. Okay. Now he tells them, and which means here, set apart. We'll go a little quickly. Set apart is the Hebrew word for what? Somebody tell me. How do you say set apart in Hebrew? I told you on Kamishi.
Kodesh.
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 Kodesh. Whoa, there you go. Kodesh. Okay. Kodesh is month. You could put a K or you could put a CH. It's month. Kodesh is set apart. Okay. So that's the idea. This is the only thing that God told him, that if you pay careful attention to what I say, okay, and guard what I'm telling you, guard my covenant, then you will be my own special jewel. You'll be in my possession of all the peoples. Okay. And that's it. And you will be a kingdom of Kohanim, of people who would be able to tell the world. And by the way, a kingdom here is talking about there's many kingdoms, but what I want to do is establish, because that's what the word Kohanim also means. I want to establish a kingdom in the earth that's set apart from all other kingdoms. Oh, you better hear me. And I want you to be part of it. These are the words that you are to speak to the people of Israel. Moshe came and he summoned the leaders of the people and presented them with all these words which Yahweh had ordered him to say. Verse number 8, and all the people answered as with one, everything Yahweh has said, we will do. They lied. According to Psalms number 78. Yah knew that they were lying. And I asked them, why would you still make a relationship or a covenant with somebody and you know they're lying? Why would you choose a woman to be a wife and you know she's a whore? And she has these tendencies to look at other people, because the children of Israel left Egypt with their gods, as we found in Ezekiel chapter number 20, that he told them to get rid of. And he gives the testimony they never got rid of their gods. Why would you choose somebody like this? That question will be answered later on. Moshe reported the words of the people to Yahweh. Yahweh said to Moshe, see, I'm coming to you in a thick cloud so that the people will be able to hear when I speak with you. Because that's who I'm going to be speaking with. Okay, and also trust in you. This word right here is called emunah, which they would have been translated into the word faith, but also trust, also support. Okay, so I'm coming to speak with you in front of them, and also that they were trusting you for how long? How long? How long are we supposed to trust in Moshe? It's right here. Forever. Forever. Moshe had told Yahweh what the people said. So Yahweh said to Moshe, go to the people today. By the way, that today was the 15th day in the third month. Yahweh first gave the Shabbat to the children of Israel in the second month on the 15th day. Yahweh took the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt on the first month on the 15th day. Do you see a pattern?
The 15th day of each month.
The 15th day. So the first month they left. The second month, he gives them the Shabbat. He talks to them about the Shabbat. He talks to them about the Shabbat. It wasn't the Shabbat. He talks to them about the Shabbat. Each instance here, the 15th day is, according to the Hebrew calendar, the first day of the week, called Yom Rishon. Okay, it's the first day of the week. Okay, because you got first seven, Shabbat, the seventh day is the Shabbat. The 14th day is the Shabbat. The 15th day is the day after, which is the first day of the week. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to the people today. I want you to, and today on the 15th day and tomorrow. If the 15th day is today, then what is tomorrow?
That is Yom Sheni.
Yeah, there it is. It's Yom Sheni on the 16th day. And I need you to separate them for me by having them wash their clothing. Okay. When I first read this, I was like, oh, okay, we'll just go wash their clothes. And that's how they got sanctified. That's what separation is. Okay. To be a set apart people, right? I want them to do something. So what I want them to do is I want them to wash their clothing. Okay. So when I studied this, I was like, okay, so why? Why do you want me to wash the clothing? Why? I'm looking for what? Why am I asking why? Because I'm looking to get what? Somebody tell me. Why would you ask a question? You're in search of what?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Praise the Holy. You ask questions, you'll get wisdom. Why the clothing? Because when they would wash their clothes, they would have to tread them out. With what? With their feet. Why the clothing? Why was the clothing? Why did he tell them not to? They wash their bodies, of course, but he's telling them to wash your clothes. Why your clothes? Because your clothing is your covering. Your covering is your image. Your image can then turn out to be what you want it to be, which is an idol. Yah is asking them to tread themselves. This was it's not an idiom, but it's a way of life. It's an understanding. It's the inside knowledge of what Yah is saying. He's not just telling them to go wash your clothes. You know, just go take it and put it in a wash machine and wash it that day and then come back and wash it today and then wash it tomorrow. Yah is asking them to prepare. You have to go ahead and prepare. And what I want you to do is I need you to go and tread in your covering, tread your life, tread your image. Tread what you believe, step on that which you believe to be yourself. This image that you have of yourself, this idea of who you think you are. Oh, praise him. He's telling us here that I want to get these people prepared and established because they're no longer going to be for themselves. It's not an easy wash. 2 days? Why 2 days? What does 2 represent? In Hebrew, in order to convict somebody, you need what? 2
2
or
witnesses.
3 witnesses. Yah is letting them know that you have to go through a process. And that's what he's telling us today. You have to go through a process in order to meet me. Because ultimately, they're going to meet with him. And what does he tell them to do? Verse number 11 says in what? And prepare for the 3rd day. Prepare for this day. I looked up this word for prepare, and this word prepare right here also means Kohen, from our word that we have for Khan, which means to establish, to make firm. Prepare, get ready to support yourselves, establish yourselves, get ready. That means get ready. Because you're going to meet me. And you're going to meet me on Yom Shalishi. For on the 3rd day, Yahweh will come down. He will descend, not just come down. He will descend on Mount Sinai before all the eyes of the people. And listen, when it says eyes here, he's not talking about your spiritual eyes. He's talking about your physical eyes. You're to set limits for the people all around and tell them to be careful. Don't you go up on the mountain, even touch it. And whoever touches the mountain will surely be put to death. No hand is to touch him. Who? The mountain. For he must be stoned or shot by arrows. Neither animal nor human is to be allowed to live. When the shofar sounds, I want you to pay attention. When you hear this sound of the shofar, they may go up on the mountain. That's what Yah said. Question, did the children of Israel go up on the mountain when the shofar sounded?
No,
Why not?
they were afraid.
They were afraid. They were afraid. You understand? So Yahweh's intention is for the children of Israel to do what? To what? Once Yah was to go ahead and descend, he wanted them to do what? I need you to go up where I am. But they didn't go up. A lot of people don't know this. This is what Yahweh's intention was, for them to go up. Not Moshe, them. Why? Why does he want them to go up? He wants them to go up because he's going to establish his covenant with them. But he wanted them to go up in the time that he told them to. But Moshe went down from the mountain and told to the people and separated the people for Elohim. He separated them. And they washed their clothing. They started doing what he asked them, but they did it, but they weren't going through preparation. They weren't really being prepared. He told them to prepare for the 3rd day and don't approach a woman. Why not approach a woman? He's talking here about sexual contact. Sexual contact makes a person unclean. Okay. That what comes from a man, which is a semen, is life. The moment that it comes out, it dies. Therefore, it's death. Not that the woman, it's not that the woman was unclean. It was once they had that sexual encounter, both people would become unclean. You see? Yah looks at uncleanness from us from a human standpoint. And the religions have made us get away from what uncleanness really is. These are natural processes that happen. He says, when you go to the restroom and I'm in a camp, you go outside of the camp and go to the restroom and then make sure you cover it and clean yourself and wash yourself because I dwell among you. Okay. So we're going to stop right here before I get into it. It says, and on the third morning, listen to me. On the morning of the third day. Why am I emphasizing this? Why am I putting a lot of oomph behind it? Because I've been trying to tell everybody that Yahweh says that I am going to give the Shabbat on the morning. The morning starts the day. Yah says, I'm going to come to you on the third day. So when did he show up? On the morning. Did he show up in the evening on the second day? No, he showed up on the morning of the third day, establishing the fact that a day consists of morning. That's when it begins. From light. There was thunder, lightning, and a thick cloud on the mountain. Then the shofar blast sounded so loudly that all the people, what did they do? What did the people do? They trembled. You guys with me?
Yeah.
Here you go. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Shemot 19. I highlighted some words here. Okay, again, we're talking about, now we're going to go into what we're talking about, the voice. We're going to the voice now. Yah's voice had began with the sound of the trumpet, the shofar. If you would pay careful attention to what I say, and you keep my covenant, then you will be my own treasure, my jewel from among all the peoples. For all the earth is mine, and you will become a kingdom of Kohanim for me and set apart, a nation set apart. Words here are pay careful attention and keep my covenant. The first word in terms of pay attention is called listen. That's careful attention. They use it twice. They use this word Shema twice. It means to listen and obey. When he talks about keeping my covenant, he's literally not talking about putting it in your pocket. He's telling us to go ahead and guard it. That is keeping here in Hebrew. Okay. And this right here is to listen and obey. Okay. Which we're going to get the definitions of those words. Okay. Listen, obey, and guard. The first word, listen, is Shema. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen very carefully. Give attention through your eyes, your ears, your mind, all your faculties. Okay. I need you to Shema. I need you to obey me. That is Shema as well. Okay. If you heard something that I said, okay, it's like you're listening to my voice. Because remember, this word right here for Shema is the shin and the resh, excuse me, the shin and the mem, okay, which has a word called shem, which shem means what? Name. And your name is what? Your name is your character. You understand? And your shem is the breath of you. That's why, and it's also your name. Your name is the breath of you, who you really are. So what Yah is saying to us is, if you are going to listen and obey me, it's going to be the breath of you. It's going to be who you really are. You literally have to have a certain type of character to listen to me and obey me. I chose a people who are rebellious, stiff-necked, and hard-hearted, and tested me 10 times. And yet I still give you my words. What I'm trying to let you know, fallen people, human character, I'm letting you know that the breath of you needs to be changed. I'm going to put my name on you to change your character. The name of this book that we're getting this information from is called Shemoth, meaning the names. I'm giving you names so I can tell you the character. I brought you out because I know that you were a slave. I know that you're broken. I know that you're hard-hearted. I know your life needs to be changed. And I'm the one who can change your character. It's those who obey and listen to my voice that would ultimately end up having their character to be like mine. I want you to be a people for me. I want you to act like me. I want you to think like me. I want you to dress the way I told you to dress. I want you to guard what I said, because the words that I spoke to you are words of life. You can see again that I not only want you to listen to what I say, but I also need you to guard it. Again, there's shame again. It's in here. And here's the Rosh. That means the head. It means the first. I need you to be the head of my character on the face of the earth. If anybody is to know me, it's you. And the only way that the nations will ever come to know me is if you develop the character I'm asking you to have. I'm going to make you the chief of all the nations. I'm going to put my name on you. I am introducing you to who I am and my character. Therefore, because you don't know me and you don't know my character, because you've been questioning me the whole time since I brought you out of the land of Mizraim, since I brought you out from your slavery, you've been questioning me the whole time. You have so much disrespect for me. You even brought the idols that you had in Egypt with you. You murmur and complain against everything that I've said. Here is the word that came to Yirmiyahu from Yahweh. Just so he can give us some insight. Not just what I said in Exodus and Shemot. I want to give you some other testimonies. Listen to the words of this covenant. Listen, the same words that he talked about in Exodus is the same word he uses here is Shema. The breath of you, give your ear to me. Give me the essence of who you are. Listen to the covenant. Then speak to the people of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Yerushalayim. You got to listen. That's a command. Tell them that Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, says, a curse on anyone who does not pay attention. That word again is Shema. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Ua havatayet Yahweh Eloheka. V'kol livaveka, v'kol nefeshka, v'kol miyodeka. Listen, Israel. Obey. Yahweh is one. Our Elohim is one. And we're to love him with all of our minds, all of our soul, and all of our being. Shema to the words of the covenant, which I enjoined unto your ancestors at the time that I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. That iron smelter. I've joined this to them. They're locked in. You're locked in. I'm telling you what I told them. Listen to my voice and carry out all my orders, which is my commands. Then you will be my people. Then you will be my people. Then you will be my people. If you listen to my voice. When you're not listening to my voice and you're not carrying out my orders, I don't consider you my people. I will be your Elohim so that I can fulfill the oath that I swore, Sheva, meaning 7, meaning an oath, meaning I raised my hand and swore to your ancestors to give to them a land flowing with milk and honey as it is today. And then I responded to my Yerem Yehu, Amen, Yahweh. That's true, Yahweh. I swore a land to them. And it's my land. That is in Leviticus chapter number 25. Go read it for yourselves. It is not our land. It's his land. You and I are strangers that he took from slavery to bring us to the land of Israel or Canaan to be his people. Listen to me. We are Yahweh's people. But yet other people have us in their possession. You can't be in Yahweh's possession and be in someone else's possession and say that you belong to Yahweh. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Yah says that we're being held captive in the land of our exile. We're being held captive in a foreign land. Yahweh said to me, proclaim all these words in the cities of Yehuda and in the streets of Yerushalayim. Listen. What's the word for listen? Shema. And obey. What's the word for that? Shema. I've solemnly warned your ancestors at the time when I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim, and until this day I have frequently warned them, listen to my voice. Shema. My voice. Koli, my voice. Yah's given us warning. He's talked to us over and over and over and over and over again, but nobody wants to listen. but cursed is the one who doesn't listen to what he's saying. Yahweh is fire. That's what he is. He's fire. When he showed up, it was fire that descended. He descended down into the fire. When I played that sound of the shofar, and you heard that thunder and that lightning, and there was a dark cloud, people, they saw the thunder and they saw the lightning. It was thunderings like voices. These people were terrified. They couldn't endure it. You know why? You want to know why? Because they weren't prepared. They washed their clothes. They did the outward things that he asked them to do, but they weren't thinking. They didn't give Yahweh their minds, and they didn't establish themselves to say, yes, we want to be established as your priesthood. Yes, we want to be able to teach the nations. Yes, we understand the responsibility of being your people and holding your name. Yes, we understand it. We know that we got to change. We know that the way that we dress is going to have to be different. We know the way that we look at people are going to have to be different. We know this. We accept it. They lied. Wayikra 11 says this. Leviticus 11:45 says this. For I am Yahweh. Listen to his voice. I'm Yahweh, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim to be your Elohim. That is the only reason why I brought you out, is to be your Elohim and to you to be my people. And because of this, you need to be holy. You need to be Kadosh. I need you to put a qua on it. I need you to be Kadosh. I need you to be separate from me. I need you to take responsibility for your lives. I don't know anybody else but you. Read it. Amos chapter 3, verse 1 through 2. I don't know any other family on the face of this earth except for you. Because this is the call. The call is to be holy. The call is to be separate. The call is to be divided from other people that are not like us. I'm not asking you to be friends with the world. I'm asking you to be leaders in the world. I'm asking you to be judges. I'm asking you to be Elohim. I'm asking you to be the gods that I told you you were. You're calling us gods? Yes, I am. You are a God. You're an Elohim. You're a judge. When Yahweh calls the children of Israel to judge matters, he tells them to go to the priest, and the priests are called Elohim. Psalms number 82 tells you that I have called you to be Elohim. You are my sons. You may have a female body, but inside of there, you are Yahweh's son. You're still a son of Yah. I've called you to judge between that which is right and that which is wrong. I called you to put down wickedness. I asked you over and over again, who will stand up for me? Who will be firm in their thinking and in their mind to give themselves to me so that they would be able to teach the people of the world? I already told you to prepare yourselves. When you come and I called you out from your slavery, this was the deal. This is the agreement. And you said that you're going to do it. That's what you said. So let me tell you what I said. And the powerful one, because we're talking about it being a kingdom of priests, call him in. The powerful one spoke all these words, which words are called davar, and then you put the davarim. Davarim, that's the book of Deuteronomy as well. I'm telling you, these words, which I call those words my testimony, that I'm going to put in a gold box. I'm going to tell you about how I feel and what I see and what my expectations are. Great. You told me you'll do everything I said. Now I'm going to tell you what I want. I'm about to give you what they would call a marriage contract. How is it a marriage contract? If you look in the book of Jeremiah, chapter number 31, verse number 29 to 31, you will find that Yah says that I gave them my covenant and I was a husband unto them, making reference to what type of covenant this is. This is a marriage agreement. And a marriage agreement in the Hebrew is called a Ketubah. A Ketubah. And a Ketubah is the writings from Ketuv. Ketuv means to write. I'm writing this down. I'm going to have this written down so you can know what the terms and conditions and the expectations of me being your Elohim. And if you want to be my people, you're going to have a certain type of character. And because you belong to me and you are my segula, you are my jewel, you are my property, I want to let you know what are the things that I expect from you. The first word that I told you, by the way, these are not the 10 commandments. There is no word called zewa or za. There's no za. It's called davar. These are not the 10 commandments. There's more than 10 commandments. So when someone tells you that the 10 commandments are done away with, they don't even know what they're talking about. These are the actual words that came out of the mouth of the Holy One of Israel, the powerful one. Listen to the first word, because this right here is Rashon. This is the first thing that I want to tell you, and I never want you to forget it. I am Yahweh, your powerful one. Powerful one here is El, which they have El. Lo, him. I'm your powerful one. I made you go out from the land of Mizraim, from the house of slaves. I want you to remember that first word. I am the one. I'm Yahweh. And my name is associated with my power. My power is the one that caused you, to made you leave and go out. I'm the one who pushed you out, like a woman's pushing a baby out of a womb. I pushed you out. I caused you to come out of this land of trouble. Mizraim is a place of pressure, from this word called masar. Matsar, from sar, pressure. And what? Putting pressure on what? Putting pressure on both sides of something. I'm squeezing you. But I brought you out from a house of slaves. That's what I want you to know. And I want you to know that and never forget it. What's the second thing that I want to tell you? The second thing that I want to say to you, which is called Devar, this is my second word. My second word in order is this. Another powerful one, another El, Lohim, will not exist for you in my presence, meaning my face is. My faces. There will never exist, be, or will become ever for you. Just like a husband and a wife, we get married, there ain't gonna be anybody else. Don't you ever let me catch you with a picture of another man or even an ex-boyfriend. If I ever see it, that's the moment you're done. That's the second word that I told you. There ain't gonna ever be anybody. So the idea about Christianity, idea about Muslims, the idea about any other Elohim besides this one right here, that I'm your powerful one, then you have a problem. You've already gone against the covenant. This is still part of that. This is still part of the second word. You will not make for yourself a sculpture or a resemblance which is in the skies or which is in the land below or which is in the water below the land. There won't be a sculpture. There won't be an image. There won't be a likeness. You can go to Deuteronomy, which is Davarim, chapter number 4, and read it and watch what Yah says. And when I talk about that which is in the skies, it's everything that appertains to the sky, meaning the sun, the moon, and the stars, or any other planet. It means anything that flies in the sky. It means a cloud. It means a vapor. Anything in the land, an animal, an insect, a tree, a man, a woman, a child. Anything in the water below, fish, an image of a fish saying that this is peace and this is the gospel. None of those things will ever exist to you. You should never make these things, because the moment that you make these things, then you're saying that what I made, I didn't make, someone else made. I made everything. I made the seas, I made the sky, I made everything. And if I was going to give you anything to worship besides myself, I would have told you, but I never told you, have I? I never mentioned it to you. This is still the second word. You will not bow yourself. The vow or the verb that's being used here is causing yourself to bow down. You are not to bow yourself down at any time. This is making yourself, not someone else forcing you. You did it yourself, down to them, to these Elohim. You will not serve them because I am Yahweh, your powerful one, a zealous, mighty one, visiting the twistedness of the fathers upon the sons, upon the third and the fourth generation of those hating me. This word twistedness here is dealing with the fact what they would call, not sin, they would call this right here called awon. Awon is iniquity / transgression. Okay. So what do you mean the twistedness? That means that you've decided to take my words and to twist my words, and you're living a perversion. You'll take what I say and twist it up. Okay. And once you've done this, and so the twisting of the fathers, your fathers taught you something, but what they taught you was something that I didn't say. They totally distorted what I said. Okay. When I talk about visiting right here, I'm talking about this word that we talked about earlier. It's called pakad or paquad. And paquad means to give an account. You're going to give an account. I'm going to come and I'm going to take an account of all the actions. So I'm not letting anybody go. If your father's taught you something, I have to make an account on the sons to the third and fourth generation. So if you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, then I'm going to have to make a visitation on you. I'm making a visitation so I can hold you accountable, because I'm going to hold you accountable to that which I'm talking to you about. That's why it's in a gold box. And anybody who looks at the box, they're dead. Anybody that touches it's dead. Okay. But also I want you to let you know that there's people that hate me. And I'm not talking about people outside of my people. I'm talking about there's people inside of my family that hate me. No, in the house of Israel, there's people that hate Yahweh. The people that hate Yahweh are the people that will not, that remember when they twist what he says, okay? They continue down that path, and also they won't do or listen or shema the words, commands, and ultimately Yahweh's voice. They won't listen. Anybody that doesn't listen to the voice of Yahweh hates Yahweh. That's what he's telling us. And hate here is what? Somebody tell me, so we don't get our feelings hurt. What is hate from Yahweh's perspective?
It was like a distance.
Yes. So what happens is the people that hate Yahweh are the ones who put distance between what he said and what their fathers told them. They said, well, we're going to do what our father said. Yah says, don't do like your fathers. You have a right to not do what your father and your mother and your grandmother and all of them done. Don't put any distance between me and you. And putting distance between me, meaning putting distance to what I said. Because the whole thing, you guys, is about listening to what he said. Listen and obey. Those are the ones who don't hate me. So it's not just an emotion, it's a mindset. So when I tell someone, don't do this, and they turn around and do it, they hate me. We never been taught that. We thought hate was just an emotional anger where they need to be like, I hate God. No, they're not going to say that. Hating Yahweh is different. Okay. That's the second word. We're still on the second word. Look how long this second word is. He says, but I'm showing respect. I'm going to show respect, which here is mercy to the thousand for the ones who love me, the ones loving me, not loved, not past tense, loving, participle, present tense. So, and the hating is present tense. And present tense means it's continuing. It's continual. So they just don't hate them once. They're continually hating, and they just still refuse to listen. So you and I have to come to the point where we're on a present tense loving Yahweh. This is why he says in Deuteronomy, which is called Davarim, chapter number 6, verse 4, is the Shema Yisrael, that he tells us to love him, loving him with what? With everything, with your mind, with your soul, and with all your resources, everything that you are, with everything. Okay. Continually. You can't stop. Okay. So there's mercy in showing respect. Yah's gonna, what it is like, if you and I do what he says, he says, you know what? You show some, you're showing, not showed, you're showing respect for me. And because you're showing respect for me, I'm going to show respect for you. I'm going to show mercy to you and the thousands of those who love me, who are loving me. So it's not just a few hundreds, thousands. There's thousands of people that love Yahweh. It's not just, we might think, thousands is not a lot, but it is. A lot of people love Yahweh. They're loving him. And not only are they loving who he is, okay, but they're actually guarding his directions. Okay. So I have everything highlighted in gold to make you understand that Yahweh will show mercy to those who are continually loving him and those who are guarding him or guarding what he said. They're guarding his instructions. You show Yah your love when you guard his directions, his instructions, his commandments. You show Yah that you love him when we keep his moedim, which are the appointed times. That's when we show Yah that we love him. That's why we say, we'll keep the appointed times. You show you're loving Yahweh when you guard the Shabbat. You love Yahweh when you do what he says about your tzitzit. You love him when you have your beard and all, and you keep it and you don't cut the edges of your face off. And you love him when you say, I'm not going to put a tattoo on my body. If you do have a tattoo, you make the mistake like I did. You say, yeah, I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm guilty, even because I didn't even know I was wrong. You see? So loving Yahweh is guarding what Yahweh said. And that's part of being part of this priesthood. That's what being this is what the priesthood is about. These are not religious terms. There's the way that you're supposed to live and dress. There's everything. But Yah's telling you, you're my property. And because you're my property, I want you to know what my expectation is, so you can represent me, like he said in Leviticus 11:45, that I'm holy. You need to be kadosh. I'm set apart. You need to be set apart because you're representing me. So if we're going to be together, you need to understand that if you and I are going to be together, then you and I are going to have to become like together. You're going to have to follow my ways. You understand? So even if a man's looking for a wife, you can't go find a woman who's not going to follow what you say. You can't. You cannot. There's no way that you can marry a person that will not follow what you're talking about. And they don't need to follow just what you're talking about, what you think. They need to follow what the Torah says. Otherwise, you're not going to have a marriage. My wife and I had a horrible marriage. Horrible. Until we decided to follow the Torah, the instructions. When we realized that Yahweh is in charge and that he is trying to build us up to be a certain group of people, we have to let go of our ego. And we have to say, this is the Holy One of Israel. This is the creator of the heavens and the earth who wants a relationship with us. Then he goes into the third word, shalishi. I want us to pay very, very careful attention to this. You will not lift up the name of Yahweh, your powerful one, as false, because Yahweh will not acquit one who lifts up his name as false. And what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm going to tell you what it means. God says that if you and I say anything about him that's false, he's not going to acquit you. You don't get any acquittal. He's not going to let you off. Meaning this, you say that Yahweh killed an innocent man for the wicked to go free. You're done. You won't be acquitted. Because speaking false about Yah is you're lying about his character. The covenant is Yahweh's character. That's why it's written in the book of Shemot, because it's talking about Yah's character. If you and I lie about anything about him, this right here is something that's said by people all over the world. They believe that Yahweh would kill an innocent person and shed innocent blood for the wicked so they can go free. And that's not true. Yah has never said, Yah said, I will never acquit the wicked for killing and shedding the blood of the innocent. Never. Yah has never asked anyone to kill the firstborn of their children. He killed the firstborn. He's already done it. He doesn't need to do it again. Okay. But Yah never kills the innocent so he can let the wicked go free. That's in Exodus 23. We're going to get there when we get to our next couple of Torah portions. Okay. It might actually be in our next one. So he's saying, don't lift up my name. which is the Yohe-Wahe. Yohe-Wahe is mentioned over 7 times in this covenant. Okay, so when someone says that the covenant is done away with, they're saying that we're Xing him out. We're getting rid of him. Okay, the powerful one. We don't want this powerful one anymore. We want another one. Okay, so anything you say about him, if you say that it's okay for you to, do something that he said that he told you not to do, and you said it was okay, and you put Yahweh's name on it, you're done. Now here's the worst part of this particular Yom Shalishi. Here's the worst part. The worst part about this is the word lift up here is called NASA, like NASA, to lift up like an aircraft, like a rocket. Okay, if you lift up, but here it means to carry. Okay. If you carry Yahweh's name and you don't live up to it, you're done. If you live a life that is false and you say that you're Yahweh's people, which you are his people because you have his name on you, I want you to understand what I'm saying to you. We have Yahweh's name on us. And the moment that you lift up, meaning carry around, if you carry around and you bear Yahweh's name and you're not living up the way he says you're supposed to live, you're lifting up his name in a false way. And that's why he's saying, I won't acquit you. I'm going to put you to death. You're getting put to death. If my name is on you and you're having affairs, I'm going to kill you. If my name is on you and you are going around claiming that there's another Elohim, I'm going to kill you. If my name, which my name is on you, this is what I join myself to you to be your Elohim. The moment that I put my name on you and stilled you as my possession, and you go around lifting my name up and carrying my name and bearing my name in a false way, I can't not let you go. If you said that I'm a man and I'm a human being, I'm not going to let you go. This is what people don't understand. They think when it talked about speaking falsely about Yahweh only. The word here again is Nasa, and Nasa means to bear and carry. You're carrying his name. My wife carries my name. My children carry my name. My son carries my name. If my son lives a life that's just terrible, he's bringing shame upon my name. And then if I had an inheritance for him and he did a whole bunch of stuff he didn't supposed to do, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to disinherit him. If my son marries a woman who hates the creator, I'm not going to bless his children. He'll tell you that. My daughter marries a man that doesn't want to follow the Torah, I'll never bless any of those children. They're not getting nothing from me. They won't get nothing from me at all, because they're the ones who what? Hate the creator, because they're putting distance. Okay. So when we took on the name of the Holy One of Israel, we're taking on his character. And that's why he'll put us to death. This is the reason why we're exiled, is because his name is on us. We bear his name. That's a cold word. That's a word that we just, third commandment. No, it's the word you need to listen to. Davar Ravi'i is the fourth word. And again, having to do with Yahweh's character. Remember the day of ceasing. The day of ceasing here is the proper term for the word Shabbat. It's a day of ceasing. You and I are supposed to remember that, which is Zakar. And Zakar means remember. And remembering means to be what? To be reminded. Okay. You need to remind and be reminded, and reminding is present tense, reminding yourself of this particular day of ceasing. Ceasing from what? Ceasing from the work of your hands. Ceasing from what? The work of your thoughts. If you read in Isaiah chapter number 58, verse number 13, it will tell you that if you call Yahweh's day a day of a delight in the Shabbat, you will cease from what you do and you will cease from your business. You will not treat it ordinary. You are going to set it apart, it apart as a special. Being set apart means being special, because Yahweh is special. And he says that I want to make you special. And if you're going to do anything special, okay, if you're my people and you're a special people for me, I need a special day for you. I need a special day. I'm going to give you guys a heads up. We might go 15, maybe 15 or 20 minutes past, because I don't want to miss anything. I'm trying to move fast along, but Yah doesn't want me to speed this up. He wants me to really tell you what it is. Part of this fourth word, revi'i, the fourth word, not command, the fourth word that I'm telling you, okay, is again a continuation. You have 6 days, okay? 6 days you will serve and you will do all your work. The reason why I don't want you to do anything on my 7th day, which is my day of ceasing, is because I want you to remember that you were a slave and I'm giving you a break from that work. And the 7th day is supposed to be a reminder of what I did for you. So when you're working, you can't think about that. When your hands are put in work, you're not even, it's not even your mind. So when I told you to love me, I told you to love me with these things. I told me to love me with your mind, not your heart. They say heart, it's not, it's your mind. I told you to love me with your soul, all your being, okay? And I told you to love me with all of who you are, all your everything, your whole entire being, mind, body, and soul, everything. And when you're in a state of working, you don't have time to think. I give you the Shabbat, so you give you time to think and remember what I've done for you. It's a reminder. I told you that I always have to remind you, because Israel likes to forget. I know you're very forgetful. You not only have a listening problem, but you have a problem remembering. That's why I have to continue to remind you about who I am and what I did for you. Because on the 7th day is a day of ceasing. It's a day of you stopping what you're doing for Yahweh. It's ceasing for him. That's why you're doing it. It's a ceasing for him, because he asked us to do it. He said, if you would, number one, we start off with listen, obey, and what else? Guard what I'm saying. Because this day is for me. You're a powerful one. You will not do any business. No business. It's not just work, it's any business. It's thinking about, well, what I got to do next week. Where am I going to go? What are we going to do? Where we're going to go grocery shopping? None of that. I don't want you to do any of that. Your son, your daughter, your slave, your handmaid, your livestock, the stranger who is within your gates. Okay. So I want everybody to stop and cease. And I want you to think and remember me. I need you to remember me. There's a psalm in Psalm 92 that's called the Shabbat Psalm. And in it, it talks about how Yahweh has made everything. And it says, I rejoice at the things that you made. I take joy in the things that your hands have made. When did we ever get the opportunity to look at what he's made? We're so busy running around trying to fulfill our obligations to everyone else, our employer, our businesses, our business people, our contacts, our lawyers, our accountants, our business to business people, business relationships, luncheons, dinners, parties, meetings, team meetings, trying to get ahead. but we never take the time to see how Yah has worked. And it's a reason why he wants us to take this time to see, so you can enjoy what Yah has made and look at it so you can understand how he works. You cannot know how Yah works if you don't take the time to look at what he's made. That's the reason why he doesn't want us to create anything and make any images. This fourth word continues to say, because of the 6 days, Yahweh made the sky and the land, the sea, and all that there is that are in them. He rested in the seventh day. Therefore, Yahweh showed respect to the day of ceasing. See, we take that word out of Shabbat because it's a religious term that's been used, but the word Shabbat means to cease. So Yahweh rested, so you should rest too. Yahweh showed respect to the day, and so should you, because this is part of Yah's character. He's saying these are my expectations. If I did it, I want you to do it. I'm Yahweh. I want you to do the same thing that I've done. There's no separation between us. I'm inviting you into the inside understanding of why. If you would take the time to look at what I've made on Shabbat, and you take the time to go sit outside and look at the sun and the sky, the clouds and the birds and how they're flying, and look at how they go down and they get their seeds, and you take the time to look at the green in the grass and look at the seasons and how the wind blows, and you start looking at how things begin to blossom and how leaves fall. If you begin to start looking at those things, maybe you'll start understanding how I work. I'll share it with you. I'm giving you some insight about who I am. Okay. And he set it apart as special, just like you and I. And that special there is Kadosh. Again, set apart, special, holy. That's what it is. Okay. So we're taking out the religious terms and we're putting in the real terms. Showed mercy. He showed respect to it. Just like he said he'll show respect to those who love him. So Yah saying those who I love, I'm going to show some respect to them. Just like I show respect to this day. So if you and I are showing respect to him, you and I are showing respect to the day. If you love him, if you're loving him, you got to do this. If you're loving him, you know how a husband says, if my wife loved me, she'll cook what I asked her, and she'll do this, and she'll be faithful to me, and all these things. God's saying this is the terms of our agreement. Okay. I put a little side note here in Shemot, which is in the same book, to let you know how Yahweh really feels about this in particular time. 31:16-17 says this: the people of Israel, which are all both male and female, and all the people that dwell with him, are to keep, meaning what? How do we say keep? Shamar. I need you to shamar. I need you to guard this time of ceasing. I need you to observe. That means doing this ceasing through all their generations as a perpetual covenant, no ending. It is a sign between me and the people of Israel forever. In 6 days, Yahweh made the heaven and earth. But on the seventh day, he stopped working and rested. So Yah had already had in mind the Shabbat, the day of ceasing, at the beginning of creation. Then he introduces the Shabbat to the children of Israel, the sons of Israel, in Exodus chapter number 16. Because he said, this is the way I'm going to test them to see whether or not they would do what I say. I'm going to give them manna. And the manna is directly connected to the Shabbat. You're going to pick the manna up for 6 days. And you're going to get a double portion of manna on the 6th day. And you're not going to do anything on the 7th day. Because the first 5 days, if you kept the manna till the morning, the manna had worms in it. But if you kept it to the morning of the 7th, it had no worms in it. Again, Yah is showing us the sign. And this here sign means oath. And an oath represents 7. So the 7th day is an oath. It's the sign. That's why he stopped at the seventh day because that's his number to recognize oath. So when you and I are in this, we're in an oath with Yahweh. It's not just a sign, it's an oath. It's an oath between me and the people of Israel forever. For in that, you understand. So the seventh day is in order to prove that you are keeping the oath with Yahweh, in order to prove that you're loving him, in order to prove that you're guarding him, and you're doing what he says, you're going to be able to perform that on that particular day, which we celebrate and commemorate today. So by you being here, says that you love Yahweh. You're loving him. That's how he knows that we love him, by what we do, not what we say. Because they say a lot of things, but they never do what he says. Ezekiel chapter number 20, verse 12 says this: I gave them my Shabbats as a what? As an oath, as a sign between me and them. Different book. Ezekiel's a prophet and he's a priest. And I don't know if you guys knew that, but Ezekiel was a priest. He's a Kohen. He's a Kohen. So he was telling them that, hey, I gave them my oath. I gave them my 7. And guess what? Between me and them, so that they would know, this is what I want you to know, that I, Yahweh, am the one who makes them what? Holy. I'm the one who makes them set apart. And doing on Shabbat is the one to let you know that you're set apart. That's why when the manna didn't get corruption, Yah's saying this day is set apart. It's a very sacred day. It's a day that I consider you, in my mind. Listen to me. In my mind, the mind of the Holy One of Israel, when you and I participate in this day, we're showing him that we're loving him, but also too, that we recognize that he's holy. And we recognize that he's the creator, and we recognize that he's made all things. We recognize that he brought us out of the land of Mitzrayim, and we recognize that we were slaves. That's what it is in Deuteronomy chapter number 5, verse number 15, about the Shabbat. I don't think I have it in here as a slide, but it talks about the Shabbat, and it says that I want you to do this, Davarim, that you were a slave, to remind you that you're a slave. You're a slave. I need to get that work off of you. You understand? So this is all about your slavery. This is all about you knowing that I, Yahweh, am the one who makes them holy. Holiness and set apartness is through this in particular time, and that's the sign, that's the oath. And if you break it, you're saying that you hate him. You're putting distance between you and him. Jeremiah 17:21 says, here is what Yahweh says, because we only care about what he says. I don't really care about what anybody else is talking. He says, if you value your lives. So now we're going to see the value proposition about the Shabbat. If you value your lives, you don't carry anything on the Shabbat, on the day of ceasing, or bring it through your gates of Yerushalayim. This is a warning that he gave them. If you value your lives, then you're not going to carry anything on the Shabbat, meaning not carry like you're carrying just because you have it on you. What he's talking about is there to do what they call merchandise. Okay. You're not going to do any merchandise. You're not going to be there to buy and sell. You're not doing that kind of stuff, because that's what they were doing. You're not going to do that. So if you value your lives, don't do that. Okay. Don't carry anything out of your houses on Shabbat. Some people are religious and say, well, what does that mean, carry anything? He's talking about to go sell stuff. And don't do any work. Instead, make the Shabbat a holy day. I ordered your ancestors to do this, but they neither what? They did not listen. How do you say no in Hebrew? Somebody tell me. Replace the letter N with the letter L. And what do you got?
Low.
Low. That's how you say no in Hebrew. Low. They low. And how do you say listen in Hebrew?
Shamar.
There you go. So lo shema. They did not listen. Lo shema. They did not listen to what I said, nor did they what? Pay attention. Rather, they stiffened their necks so that they wouldn't have to hear or receive what they would call the Torah, the instruction. You see? So is it Yah doing this or is it them doing it? It's them. If he's asking us to listen and pay attention, that's something that we can't do, you can do it. Here's another testimony from Nakamiah. His name is not Nehemiah. His real name is called Nakam. Nehemiah, and that means comfort. Okay, that was means Yah comforts. Okay, so the rest of the people, the Kohanim and the Leviim, okay, and the gatekeepers and the singers and the temple servants and all who had separated, okay, themselves from the peoples of the lands to the Torah of Elohim. This is after they came out of their exile. They went back and they had to separate themselves from the peoples of the lands to what? To the Torah, along with their wives and their sons and their daughters, everyone capable of knowing and understanding the what? The Torah. They separated themselves. Okay, let's continue. This is another witness here telling us about this idea of separation and this Shabbat. We're still talking about the day of ceasing. They joined their kinsmen, their leaders, in swearing an oath. They did a number 7 again. This is a sign. This is a 7. Okay, 7 times. That's what an oath is, to do something 7 times or saying something 7 times, accompanied by a curse. So they got an oath and a curse in case of non-compliance as follows. We will live by Elohim Torah. Given by Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and will perform, meaning do, and obey Shema, all the commandments, rulings, which are judgments, and the Kokim of Yahweh, our master. They swore an oath. Our people did. And Yah holds us responsible. If the peoples of the lands bring merchandise or food to sell on the Shabbat, we will not buy from them on the Shabbat or on a holy day, because there's more than one holy day. Okay, there's what they all the other days called a Moedim, which are appointed times. Okay, so Shabbat, appointed times, any of the times Yah said, no buying. This is where you get no buying and no selling. If they bring it, we will not buy. So when you're out on the Shabbat and you said, I'm going to go get me a hamburger and some French fries, I'm not breaking it, and they are, and they're not his people, then you're out of line, because he says it's dealing with the peoples of the lands. When he's talking about being separate, he's literally saying, come out, don't do anything that they do, and don't support their behavior, because you are supposed to be the what? Somebody tell me, what is our theme? You're the kingdom of these in particular. You're the foundation. You're the root system. You're the support. You're the one who's supposed to grow up straight. You're the stalk that's growing up. Supposed to be straight and firm. You're supposed to be firm in your belief. Not only are you supposed to be firm, you're supposed to be established and have your roots going deep into the ground, so you can't be what? Moved. Because all other kingdoms, you're the baseline, you're the base. And if I base the whole entire world upon you, you can't fall and crumble under pressure. Therefore, you got to be firm. You got to be firm, and you have to have some resolve about yourself. And if you're not firm and your root system is weak, then guess what's going to happen? The foundation is going to crack. The community is going to crumble. And then you're going to be destroyed. Then nothing can be built upon you. This is the reason why Yah has destroyed the community, but not totally. Because Yahweh is looking for a little bit of a branch, or that which is going to sprout out of the ground, where he says, I'm going to wait for a new root. So what I got to do is I got to let the old die and then let the new come in. And the new is you and I. We're mad at Yahweh because he says, you guys want me to choose a root system that cracks and this week. They don't have the wherewithal or the fortitude to do what I'm asking them to do, but yet you want me to plant them in the land of Israel? That's never going to happen. You want me to allow you to come in weak and think that that's okay? And so I don't have no expectation of you. You're just weak and I accept you. You're a weak woman. So because you're weak and you're what they would call, incapacitated, I'm supposed to accept you. Oh, you're a weak man, right? And I'm supposed to nurse you back to health because of everything you went through. No, when are you going to stand up and be strong? These are the decisions that you and I have to make and that we have to do. Yah is not looking for people who are weak. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Yah's interested in taking that which has been damaged and giving them an opportunity and introducing them to a life that can cause them to be strong. He said, I didn't choose you because you're the strongest. I chose you because you're the weakest. I didn't choose you because you're the many. I chose you because you're the few. So I can build you up. You don't choose people to be part of your life because you think that you can change them. It's always an option. It was a covenant. It was an agreement between Yah and his people. We have to understand that this is an agreement. And if you and I don't follow our end of the deal, he says there's going to be consequences. I told you I'm going to kill 2/3 of you. I'm not going to completely destroy all of you. But what's my expectation? I'm merciful. But when I come to you and I'm talking to you, I'm having an expectation that you're willing to say you're sorry, you're willing to come back, and you're willing to do what I asked you to do. You're not coming back and you're still a whore. You're not coming back and you still got idols. You're not coming back and you refuse to do what I said. You have any kind of resistance and reluctancy to do what I'm saying, then you haven't learned your lesson. And even if pity is shown to the wicked, they still won't learn what righteousness is. That's in Isaiah chapter number 26. I can show pity, but it doesn't matter. They're still going to do what they want to do. That's why I tell the wicked to change their ways. Religion tells you that you don't have to do anything except for believe what I said. And what I'm telling you is this: I have an expectation of you making those decisions and making those moves. I've made my move. It's time for you to make your move. I've shown mercy. Now it's time for you to do your part. If you won't do your part, don't worry about it. You really don't love me. This is the fifth word. Give honor. Honor has to do with the idea of heaviness, a weight, a weightiness. Give a lot of weight. It's very weighty. Honor to your father and your mother, in order that your days will certainly be long upon the ground, which Yahweh, your Elohim, your powerful one, is giving to you, the land. I always advise my children, and I advise other children who are listening live right now. This is Yah's character. The moment you go in the back room after your mother and your father told you something, listen to me, teenagers and young people, those who are able and capable of understanding and knowing. Yah hears and he sees, and if you go and you swear against your mother and your father and you curse them behind a closed door, Yah has heard you, and therefore now you have broken faith with Yahweh. He's going to hold you responsible for your actions and your behavior and your conduct, because we're a kingdom of priests. They're part of it. Yah says you will not murder. And if you did accidentally kill someone, there's a place that you can go where you're held there until trial. And if I found that you had any hatred in your heart, that you've had any hatred, any misdealings, any arguments with somebody, and then they ended up dying, and I find that you had hatred and you guys got in arguments and they ended up dead, I'm going to kill you. That's going to be in our next Torah portion. I'm going to kill you. because in the community of priests, there can't be no hatred. In the community of a priesthood, there cannot exist any hatred, and there cannot exist, listen to me, there cannot exist any hate, there cannot exist any grudges, because that's when this stuff happens. You know, as people say, well, the New Testament gives you the clarity of like what it really means, what the commandment really means. No, that's for a dumb person. And I used to be stupid and believe what they were saying. Just like they told you that you couldn't look at a woman without committing adultery. That's a lie. Y'all never said if you looked at a woman, you committed adultery. He never said that. That's what they said. Okay. Well, he wanted to exemplify and show you what it really means. No. Let's see what Yahweh says. We're going to get to that point here in a second. But in our kingdom, in Yah's kingdom, there cannot be any hatred. There cannot be any grudges. There can't be these arguments. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with my pen. There can't be these arguments that are unresolved. There can be arguments, but they have to be resolved. So individuals like ourselves that get into arguments and disagreements, we can sit down and have a discussion and come to a resolution. In the argument, there is always going to be one who is right and the other one is going to be wrong. And the reason why I know this is because the scales of justice work that way. They have to be balanced. Okay. So if someone did something and one goes up and one goes down, it's a meeting of the minds. So once a person, Yah doesn't say a meeting of the minds, it means an agreement. So when you have the meeting of the minds, you come to a balance of justice. If an individual has an argument, say in marriage, me and my wife, I always use us as an example. I hope she don't get mad at me, but if she does, I'll take it. There's always going to be somebody who's right, and there's always going to be someone who's wrong. There won't be both parties are right and both parties are wrong. And we just got to make a compromise. Doesn't work that way. There is no compromise. Sorry for telling you this, but I'm not sorry. There's no compromise. There's no compromise, not with justice and not with righteousness. There's no compromise. It's either you're right or you're wrong. Someone did something and the other person may have responded to that, okay? Because of what this other person, you always got to look at where did this stem from? See, what happens is we'll get into a contention or a conflict, and one person will affect someone else, and then the other person is just responding. Even Yah himself has said, if someone killed your family member, they're going to go want to kill you. So you run to the land of exile to get out of there before the avenger of blood gets you. Yah understands how we work. So is the person who wants a vengeance, are they wrong? No. The person who stole something from you, are you mad and you're upset and you're angry? Are you the wrong party? No, you're not the wrong party. When someone does something to you, you're going to feel this and you're going to have to know how to respond. So there's always going to be a right and a wrong, and it's not after the fact. So you wait 5 days to figure out what happened. And by the time that happens, the argument is blown out of proportion. And then we lose sight of what the real issue was. And then we get caught up on what you did on Thursday and all the way through Sunday instead of dealing with what happened on Monday. You see? So we have to address these things right up front. We can't let things go. If you're telling somebody that Yahweh's ways is there any compromise in Yah's ways? Is Yah making any compromises? No, there are no compromises. Even if you did something that you were unaware of, he says, and you found out that you're wrong, you're guilty. And there's no compromise offering. There's no offering for compromise. Either you're guilty or you're not guilty. And that's the way that you and I are going to have to start learning how to live. No making concessions and making excuses for people. Well, that's my mother. Well, what does that mean? That's my son. I love him. So what does that mean? No, Yah has shown us what it is. And there ain't gonna be no compromise. None. Okay. So in the case of murder, it has to do with hatred. Yah's saying your character, you can't, as a kingdom, you can't do that. You can't have that. He also gives you the Devar Shishi, Kamishi right here. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Kamishi right here was the giving honor of the parents. So they call that number 5. Just in case you didn't know, forgive me for not telling you that. This is the 5th word. Okay. The 5th word that he said. Okay. And it consists of many words, but it's the 5th word, the 5th statement. Here's the Shishi, which we talked about. Shavi'i, this is the 7th word. Don't commit adultery. Adultery has to do with a male and a female that are married, that or have been betrothed. Well, I know how to spell that right. I don't know. Betrothed to someone to be married. Yah would say if a person had sexual encounters with someone who was betrothed to be married to a man who was promised to someone, that person was to be killed. Okay? Both of them. Not just the male, but the female too. And there's circumstances that go along with what the ruling is. Okay? Both male and female are supposed to be put to death. Okay. So what would happen if someone knew that someone was married or betrothed or promised? There's a promise ring or an engagement. Okay. There's an engagement here. Okay. The fact is Yah says that now that you've engaged, if this male right here goes to this female and she's engaged, he's supposed to know it, because in our community, people knew everything. They talked. People talked among each other. That's how Reuben got found out about his affair that he had with his father's, one of his wives, his father's wife, because the community talks, they know what's going on. The male has the responsibility to go to the female and know if she's married. He should ask her, or he would know, or he would inquire. And remember, inquiry means you asking questions, and asking questions is wisdom. So Yah has given his people enough wisdom to know, I need to ask some questions. Is this woman married? Or is that man married? The moment you find out they're married, they're hands off. Not only are they hands off, but their eyes off too. Every part of you is off. Listening to them is off. Hearing them is off. Eyes is off. Touching them is off. Everything about every sense that you have is turned off. Okay. The female is supposed to have responsibility to tell the male that she is engaged. That's why Yah says if she doesn't say anything, he's going to put her to death too. Because this is unbecoming behavior for the kingdom that Yah is trying to establish. What Yah is saying is if something's been promised, it has to be given. And I don't want anyone to violate it. Why? Because now that which is promised is called someone's property. There was not just, I told you I love you. There's actually money that was given as a dowry for the daughter. There was money, there was finances at stake. Okay. So if you did something, it had to do with economics as well. So the wife is your property and everything that comes along with her. That's why when a slave went to go work for his master gave him a wife, and he wanted to leave. It wasn't the slave's property, it was the master's property. So he has a choice to either stay with his wife or leave, because it's the master's property. Yah is giving us an insight on property. You and I are Yahweh's property. The culture we live in right now, we're told that our wives are not our property. My wife is my property. But guess who else is my property? My daughters are my property. And guess who else is my property? My son is my property until he gets of age to where he has to become a man and he leaves. My daughter is my property until the moment that she gets married. The moment she gets married, she no longer belongs to me. She belongs to her husband. And then she's his property. Okay. And if this husband right here If he does anything against the Holy One of Israel, and he has a wife and he has kids and he has animals and all kind of servants and everything, they all belong to this man. The moment that this man goes against the Holy One of Israel, Yah says, I'm killing him, right? I'm going to kill his wife, his kids, his animals, and everything, because they all belong to him. This is the reason why you need to pick the right husband. And you need to use wisdom by asking the question. Wisdom is asking questions. Is this man following the Torah? Is he following the Holy One of Israel? Is he keeping the Shabbat? Is he learning? Is he keeping the diet? Is he part of this kingdom? You can't be part of a kingdom and be part of a society and a community and not follow the ways and the rules in which that community lives. This is why Yah says, if anybody does these things, I'm going to cut those people off from their people. Adultery is not just looking at a woman. That is not adultery. Adultery is sexual in all ways. You're gone. Yah's killing you. If the woman, now here's a, so you won't think, well, Yah's so tough on everybody. If you committed adultery, excuse me, if a man committed adultery with a woman and he raped her, and she was out in the field and nobody hurt her, then he would be the only one killed. Okay. If a man has sex with your daughter, right, and she didn't cry out, but she wasn't married, then the father has an option to say, oh, you slept with my daughter? Okay, well, what's going to happen is you're going to pay me a fine, and also I can decide whether or not you should marry her or not. The father has the choice in that. See? So it goes back to the family. It goes back to the order in which Yah has set for the kingdom. This is why he's given us these things. It's not adultery when a male and a female come together and neither one of them are married. That's not adultery. That's called natural. But there's rules. The rules are, if you did that, you made the mistake of doing that, there is a consequence. There's consequences for that. So if you really cared about somebody, you might end up losing that person, and the father will never let you marry the daughter. Or the father says, you got to marry my daughter, and then they end up getting married and they never really cared about each other, and it was just their lust or whatever. So now you got a bad deal for the rest of your life. And a matter of fact, he'll never be able to divorce this woman. So there's rules in which we're going to talk about next Torah portion next week. Okay. Stealing. The reason why Yah doesn't want us to steal, and this is Davar Shemini. Shemini is the 8th word. Davar is word. Okay. So the 8th word is that I don't want you to steal, because this is not indicative of the character of the priest. Also, too, stealing means that you're taking someone's what? Property. Remember, Yah said that you're going to be a jewel to me. You're Yah's property. He's telling, I don't want anybody to steal you. This is my character. So I want you to have the same character I have. So you can't take something from somebody that doesn't belong to you. I don't want you to mess around with anybody else's property, because I gave it to them. And it's theirs. It's their rights, and they have a right to do whatever they want to do with it. Okay. You can steal what? You can steal someone's animal. You can steal a person's servant. You can steal, other property, gold, silver, whatever. Has to do with property. That's why Yah begins to tell them that you'll be a special people to me, because you're my property. Tishi, excuse me, is the 9th word. Okay. You will not answer a witness of deception with your friend. Interesting way to word it, meaning that you're going to be honest with your friend. You're not going to give a false statements to or for your friend. You're not going to give a false statement to them. You're not going to give a face statement for them. You're not going to try to guard them by being a false witness to them or for them, because a false witness has no place inside of the kingdom, because you are my witnesses. And when you're dealing with being witnesses, you have to be truthful, you have to be honest, and you have to be forthcoming, and therefore there's no deception. Okay. I want to be a little bit more clear about deception. Deception here means that you're hiding something. You're hiding a fact, some sort of evidence. You're hiding something. See, deception doesn't necessarily mean when they just say, well, you're just lying. No, deception can mean that you withheld information. You are withholding you're withholding something. You're withholding something. That means you're telling half the story. You're not telling all of it. You'll tell some parts of it, some parts of the facts, but you're leaving out some of the more important details. That's deception. And that's part of being a liar. Okay? So when we deal with each other in this kingdom, Yah is letting us know, because you bear my name. Now remember, if you and I do any of these things that we've been talking about, if any of these words, the Davar, Shemi, Rishon, Shani, Shalishi, Ravi'i, Kamishi, Shishi, Shavi'i, Shemona, Tashi'i, if you do any of these things in any kind of false way, Yah says, I'm not going to hold you unaccountable. I'm not going to acquit you, because you're bearing, okay, or you're carrying his name. See? So if you do any of these things, Yah says, you now, because since you're joined to me and you've done this, now you have represented me falsely. You've been living false. See? So that's why these are not commandments. This is the cornerstone. And these words of the covenant are literally the base, or what you would call the foundation of our relationship with the Holy One of Israel. That's why it's imperative that you and I don't do anything against him in a way that we don't supposed to. You see, we don't want to give anybody a reason to show any type of disrespect towards the Holy One of Israel. And we do that by the way that we live our lives. See, and that's something that we've never been taught. That's why I tell everybody, make sure you be on this class, because Yah is telling us this is the foundation of our relationship and what you're going to be known by. Somebody want to take a guess and tell me what Asari is? What word is this?
10th word.
Huh?
10th word.
Yes, exactly. That is the 10th word. This is the 10th word. Okay. And also too, we have other writings that tell us in Deuteronomy chapter number 10 and 9, where it talks about the 10 words. And the 10 words are as a reference to what they would call the covenant. It's not the 10 commandments, it's the 10 words. And they're called the Esrei HaDavarim. Okay. So you will not desire the house of your friend. You will not desire the woman of your friend, or his slave, or his maidservant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your friend. Okay. So this word desire right here in English is called coveting. Okay. Covet. That word does not exist in the Hebrew language. Okay. Okay. The word here is called kamad. Okay. Kamad means to desire. It means to take pleasure. Okay. It has to do with the idea of pleasure. So I'm going to explain this to you so you can understand why the Holy One of Israel said that you shall not have any desire, okay, or pleasure of a person's house. Why the house? Because the house is someone's what? Property. Somebody's woman, that is someone's what? Property. His slave is his property. His maidservant is his property. His ox is his property. His donkey is his property. Anything that belongs property to your friend, your neighbor. When he talks about having a desire, what he's saying is this: you're my woman. And when I have someone looking at you and they set their eyes upon you, they're desiring you. And what they're doing is they're delighting in you. They're taking pleasure in you by looking at you. And not just from the sake of, a lot of times we like to think, oh, well, it's just a sexual pleasure. Nuh-uh. It's not just sexual pleasure. Because you can't have sexual pleasure with your ox, the donkey, or the other things that belong. So this is deeper than sexual pleasure. Sexual pleasure is part of it. Okay. But if you go to the sexual pleasure for the woman of someone's wife, then you're talking about adultery. Okay. In context, he's talking about taking pleasure and having a delighting in something that doesn't belong to you. If you and I were to look upon someone, I asked my son this yesterday, I said, hey, say you, I won't use him. I'll use him. I said, hey, say you had this beautiful wife, and you brought her over to the house. And every time you turned around, you caught me looking at her. You caught me, saying every time she turned around, I'm saying something super nice to her. And I'm what they would call, I'm flattering her. And I'm complimenting her. First of all, I don't know her. Okay. So my words of flattering and complimenting are all a facade because I don't really know who she really is. Okay. I don't. But more than anything, she's not my woman. She's yours. And put it for her husband. You women have a husband or somebody that you love and you bring him over. Every time you turn around, your friend is saying how handsome he is and how strong he is and how smart he is. And every time you turn around, she's saying something about how muscular he is or how useful he is. And I wish that my husband would do this. And girl, you so good to have a husband like that, such and such. Yeah, I was saying that is what they would call desire. And it's hidden. It's hidden. This is the deep part of what Yah is trying to get to Israel. It's to let us know that we're his property. He doesn't want anyone to desire us. He doesn't want anyone to take pleasure in us. He doesn't want us to take pleasure in anyone else. Because the character of a person who does this is a person who will commit adultery. The character of a person who looks upon someone's woman and desires her is the one who will lay with her. Yes, Rivka.
It's idolatry.
Yes, it is. The character of the person who would desire to have and take pleasure in someone's slave is the one who would steal them. They're putting other words and thoughts into their head. Every time you say something to her, she's going to say, well, my husband doesn't say that.
It's kind of like worshiping other gods, because
Yeah.
if we envy other gods and what they're doing, like other
Other nations.
other nations and their gods. Oh well, they don't have to keep the Shabbat. Oh well, they can eat pork. You know,
Yes.
their women are they show more leg than our women.
Yeah, and listen, and they're more respectful. They're this, and
Their
you,
hair straighter.
yeah, you compliment.
They're yellow.
Yeah, and look at these men over here. See, so what happens is you start giving what they would call a false reading on someone. As a husband, we're not allowed to compliment a woman. Okay, listen. Out of respect for your wife, but also respect for the woman. You don't know who she belongs to. You don't know if she's betrothed. You don't know any of those things. And if you want to know and you're single, you can ask a question. You can ask her, hey, are you single? You know, are you seeing someone or such and such, or have you been, engaged or, okay. So these are the rules of conduct for our people. But Yah's telling us that I don't want you to delight in anyone. I don't need you to compliment them. I don't need to tell you how nice they look. I don't need to tell you, oh, that looks really pretty. Or how handsome. Oh, that's really, none of that. Because that person belongs to someone else. And Yah is jealous. Remember, he says that he's jealous. That's one of the words he told us earlier. Then I'm jealous. And I don't want my woman out there, my people, my kingdom, being this way. I don't want other people looking at you. Therefore, I don't need you to turn your eyes to those things. That's why he tells us to wear our tzitzits as well, because it prevents you from turning your eyes to set upon other things. Okay. In conclusion, Davarim chapter 31 verse 12 says this: assemble the people, the men, the women, and the little ones, and the foreigners you have in your towns, so that they can hear, learn, fear Yahweh Eloheka, and take care to obey the words of this Torah. Again, this word obey is the word what?
Shema.
Shema. You understand? That's listen and obey. Three things. I need you to hear what I'm saying. I need you to learn what I'm saying. And I need you to fear what I'm saying. The Torah. And I need both all the men, the women, and the little ones, and the foreigners with you in your town, so that they can hear it, they can learn it, and fear. That's the process. So when we have individuals that are not willing to hear, they're not willing to learn, and are willing to fear Yahweh. That's the reason why you're supposed to come to the Torah, is so you can hear, learn, and fear Yahweh. Because Yahweh's Torah is Yahweh's voice. And it's what he said. See? And that's why you can obey Shema, all the words of the Torah, which is Yahweh's voice. People don't know that. They just think it's a whole bunch of writings, written in Hebrew letters. No, it's not. It's Yahweh's voice. So if a person won't listen to the Hebrew, and they won't listen to the Torah, they won't listen to the learning, and they're not going to come to fear Yahweh. And so that their children who have not known, because remember, it says the men, the women, and the children, and the little ones. When you got the little ones, you have to start them when they're little. You don't wait till they're teenagers to start telling them about the Torah. You don't do that. You have to give it to them early. He says, bring the little ones. And then everyone, husband, wife, everyone. And so that the children, their children who have not known, because the children have to be taught by the parents in order to know the Torah. They don't know the Torah. They have not known it. That's why you're supposed to do this on a yearly basis, so they can hear, so they can learn, and so they can fear who? The children. Yahweh. If you want your children to fear Yahweh, they have to hear the Torah. They have to learn the Torah so they can fear Yahweh. Because it's his voice. As long as you live in the land you're crossing the Yarden to possess. And this is the reason why we are exiled out of the land, is because they've refused to listen to the Torah. Okay. That is being part of the kingdom of priests. That is the basis of the foundation of everything. That's the agreement. If you bear Yahweh's name and we're part of his, and we're his people, not part of them, we are his people. He says that if you bear my name in any false way, meaning the way that you live and carry my name around, and you're a liar and you're taking pleasure in other people and you're committing adultery, you're breaking the Shabbat, you're making other images of other gods, you're worshiping, and you bow down to them, you've broken the covenant. And I'm going to get vengeance for the covenant. And I will destroy you, because that's just the way it is. I'm not making allowances for those who don't want to do what I say. No one who breaks the covenant is going into the land. You're not going to the land. No rebel is going into the land. And I read that before in Ezekiel 20 says, if you're rebelling against me, you're not going into the land. So why did I read all this today? I read all of it today to simply let us know that Yahweh is telling us that I want you to prepare. That's what I need you to do. Prepare to meet me. Because you and I are going to go to the wilderness like our ancestors. You'll find that in Ezekiel 20. And when we get there, I'm going to judge you like I did your ancestors. We're going to have a conversation. And if I found that the time that I sent you to the lands that I sent you to test you, to see whether or not you would keep my laws and statutes and commandments, if you were there and you decided not to listen to me, okay, not to Shema, you did Shema, you're Lo Shema, I warned you and your ancestors. So you're the group of people who hates me, because I've already told you to the third and fourth generation, those hating me, not hated, hating. Everything your ancestors told you about Christmas and Santa Claus and JC and the Savior and all that, that's what you want to buy? Great. If you want to believe that, then that's on you. They hate me too. And I don't have a problem with it. But I'm going to show respect and mercy and love and kindness to those loving me and keeping my commandments. So this is the basis of our whole entire foundation of our relationship. Our relationship with the Creator has been based upon us being his property. We belong to him. So things for us have to change. And we're going to have to be committed to that. And that's what he's asking us to do today. He's asking all of us, are you going to be committed to me? Or are you going to play games? Because if you play games, what's going to happen is you're going to find out that I am Yahweh. If you lie to me like your ancestors lied and say, we'll do everything you said, and it comes to find out that you didn't, I'm going to let it be known that day. I'm going to deal with you just like I did with your ancestors. I'm going to kill you in the wilderness, and it's going to be your fault. I'm not telling you I'm going to kill you because I want to, because I told you that I don't want you to die. I told you that in Ezekiel chapter number 18. I told you that in Ezekiel chapter number 22. I don't take any pleasure whatsoever in the death of the wicked. I told you in Isaiah chapter number 56, 55, to turn from your wickedness and your evil ways and to come and serve me and to humble yourself. I told you that because I'm not going to make any compromises with you, your mother, your father, your children, nobody. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your race is. I don't care none of that. If I gave you a covenant and we're bound in this covenant and I enjoined it to you, as I told you before, if you don't listen to it, you're cursed. You listen to me, I'll spare you. You don't, that's fine. That's what it is. So with that being said, I'm open to answer any questions that you guys may have on this teaching today.
I didn't have a question, but I did have a comment. Hello?
Shoot, you loaded.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about the word possession, and how we think of it from a Western point of view. It's kind of a turnoff for especially women here, and from a Western point of view, because we think of possession, we think of our slave masters and how they possess things, and they beat them, they control them,
Yes.
they lock them away, because that's my perspective of when you say possession. This man possesses me. Instead of looking at it from how Yah sees us as a possession, he wants to bring us out of somewhere, and he wants to provide for us. He wants to care for us. He wants to give us land. He wants to give us everything that, the fat of it, the honey and the milk, and give us life and life more abundantly, right? So it's kind of like when we even think about that, of being a possession, we have a negative tone towards it because of our captivity. And this is literally, we have to change our mind. When I say that my son and my daughter are my possession, it means that I care for them. I provide for them. I give them a home. I give them food. I give them health care. I make sure from the moment they were conceived that they had everything that was going into them was nutritional, and Yah, that's what Yah has done for us. He says, you're my possession. You're not going to eat these certain things. You're going to dress a certain way, just like I tell my children, you're not going to let your pants hang off you. So I have to change my mindset about what a possession means. It's a loving possession. This is somebody that I love and care for. Therefore, I love and care for them. When I hand them over to you, I expect you to love and care for them as well, when as far as marriages are concerned. So, our mindset, the Torah has been transforming my mind and my heart, which is, the mind is a heart. So I just think that because we read the Torah and we have to change our minds from Western to Eastern, we have to reevaluate and redefine the definitions that we have.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. Man, that's huge, because you're right. I mean, when I say that my daughter is my possession, it's not from, hey, she's a coffee table, no, she's, or my wife is my possession. You're precious to me. And I don't want anybody to violate you, hurt you, do anything to you. I don't want them to delight in you, because they don't belong to you. They belong to me. You belong to me. And the Holy One of Israel says that you guys are like my wife. Like, I love you, and I don't want anyone to take pleasure in you because they don't have the best intention for you like I do. I don't want you to turn your ear or your eye or your hand or your body or nothing to anyone else, because that means that you're saying that I can't be what I need to be to you. Oftentimes, we don't like the leadership of the Holy One, because he's making some demands of us and saying that this is the way it's going to be. And so that's why he says you're stubborn. You guys are rebellious. You've been a rebel since even before you were even born, you're a rebel. You can find that in Isaiah chapter number 58, I believe. So he's saying that, but you're precious to me. And I don't want anyone else in your ear. I don't want anybody that's telling you something about you. A lot of people have been telling us that this is what others have said to us. They have said that you don't have any, willpower. You're depraved. You're a sinner. You don't have it within yourself to do any good. And so we've been listening to these other voices that have been telling us things that are not true. They've been telling us things like, you look at a woman, you committed adultery. No, that's not adultery. You didn't even give us an opportunity. It's like, why wouldn't I ask a question, right? Why wouldn't I seek some wisdom? You're like going against my natural, who I am as naturally as a man or a woman. We have to put that on the back burner. It's like they're trying to purposely defeat the natural aspects of our humanity in order to bring us to another, outer space magical experience, when yet and still there's nothing wrong with a man looking at a woman. It just depends, or a woman looking at a man. It just depends on the circumstances around that, which requires wisdom to ask the question, hey, are you married? Or you are? Okay, boom. And leave it like that. You see? So, and I'm not trying to stay with that subject. What I'm saying is, Yah is letting us know that you guys have other people in your ear. And when I say that you need to listen to what I say, is because I'm going to tell you what's best for you. Rick, while you like to talk about the kids, I want to tell you what's going to be best for you. That's why, because you belong to me. I'm looking to care for you. I don't want to do anything harmful to you. So what they've done, you guys, is they frame what Yahweh has said, and they made it into these rigid commands that they call commandments, instead of looking at the heart behind the Creator's character and saying, well, this is what it is. You guys belong to me, and because you bear my name and who I am, I don't want you to misrepresent me in any type of way. There's no misrepresentation of who I am. Don't say something about me that's not true. Don't say that I forgive people no matter what they do. Don't tell nobody that I kill the innocent for the wicked, when I told you that I hate the the death and the shedding of innocent blood. Don't tell anybody that it doesn't matter what you can eat because everything has been made clean. I never said that. Yahweh has never said that, all things are clean. He's never said that. So this is the reason why we have to go to the Torah, because that's where Yah spoke. That's his voice. Anything other than that is not Yahweh's voice. That's why I tell everybody, don't listen to anybody, anything. If it doesn't say Yahweh said, don't even listen to it. If you have a teacher that's saying anything that they're thinking versus what Yahweh said, do not listen to that teacher. Do not listen to them. Period. Gil, you got a question? Or a statement?
No, I don't.
Okay. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I thank you today for spending time with us. Hopefully you were able to gain some more knowledge and some wisdom and some understanding on how to follow the Torah. It's a process. And, we're Yahweh's covenant people. And next week, we're going to be going into Yom Rishon. We're going into next week's Torah portion is dealing with Yah's judgments. And he's going to explain to them exactly all the things that they didn't hear. Okay. In conclusion, Israel hid, they went back to their tents, and they wanted Moshe to go up on their behalf. And that's the only reason why Moshe is our teacher, is because they decided to go back and hide and go to their tents. They went to their tent and they said, you go for us. And so that's why Moshe is our leader, is because we supposed to went up on the mountain, but yet we didn't. Okay. So when Yah brings us back out to the wilderness, it's going to be the same identical thing. You and I are going to have to go up to the mountain this time. And we're going to have to go receive the instructions for ourselves to fulfill what Jeremiah says, that I'm no longer going to have anybody teach you, but you'll know it because I'll write it on your hearts. So instead of it going up to go be put on stone, now I'm going to put it on your hearts. I'm going to write it on your hearts. So when we get to the wilderness, we're going to have that same identical experience. We're going to hear the thunder, the lightning, the sound of the shofar. It's all going to be part of that. It's all going to be part of that. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing today your time. I will be holding my class today at 4:00 for the Hebraic roots, learning those words. And so I say Shabbat Shalom to you, unless someone else has something that they wanted to say before. Good seeing you, Claudia. Good seeing all of you guys. Fanta, so
Good
nice.
seeing you too, teacher.
Yes, and you tell my brother I love him and miss him. I miss you guys.
Will do. Miss you guys too.
Yes, good
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Jeannie, is also wonderful to have you. Malaki, good to have you on here. Renee, Sasha, all of you guys. Anthony, it's good to see you. Jared, Akoti Pam. I don't know if Kavika's on, she probably is. Galaxy Gennaro, I see you on. Thank you so much. Kent, it's always awesome to have you. So praise the Holy One for you guys today, okay? So with that, I say Shabbat Shalom to you. Hallelujah.
Shabbat